Hi, Jamie J. Miller, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to try to do a Tell It Under 10 video, and I may do a series of these on this specific topic. I love Tell It Under 10 videos because that's our life now. We went from movies to episodes to reels. Everything is done in blips and blurbs, and people just have an attention span of about this big. So Tell It Under 10 video is basically, I give you just bullet points of information. If you're from when I was in school, Cliff Notes, if anybody knows what that is, information about a specific topic or even a specific area or direction or a piece of a specific topic. Does that make sense? And you break it down into several videos. So I'm already 1 minute in, so that means I only have 9 minutes left. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that it is very hard for me to talk under 10 minutes, and I am a pretty fast talker. So the first thing I want to do is give you my disclaimer. Hit the subscribe button down below, please. It lets me know that you guys are interested, that you are taking in this information, and also I'll give you ways to follow me in all my other sources down below. Now, when I do a specific topic like this one, we're going to be talking about psychobiotics. So the relationship between gut health and mental health, just one little aspect of it today, psychobiotics. But I'm going to be giving more information in my Wellness Wednesday email, which also comes out today. So make sure down below you click and get on my email list. That's where I'm going to go into more details. I'm also going to give you links and discount codes and anything that I may recommend in any of my sources. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I am on Facebook Limited, but I think it'd be better if you followed me. If you're going to follow me on one social media platform, it would be Instagram. Okay, I've already used up 2 minutes. This is not going well, guys. So, 20 to 40 million Americans suffer from IBS. 21 million suffer from depression, and 40 million suffer from anxiety. All right. So what do all three of these things have in common? Or did you even know that they had something in common? These numbers are very close and identical into the number of people that suffer with these issues, because typically they suffer with them all at the same time. They have some form of anxiety, some form of depression, some form of a gut disruption, which is diagnosed as IBS. So now it's not coincidental that these are all very similar. They tend to go hand in hand. And the more research that we've done on this, we've determined that the gut or bacteria that is associated with people that have anxiety, depression, and IBS are very similar in disruption. And they have the same root cause, which means they are all dealing with neuroinflammation. If you don't know what neuroinflammation is, it's exactly the way it sounds. Neuro meaning inflammation of the brain, which is directly related to the gut-brain axis. You can learn more about theirs. There's a keyword there if you want to look up more information, since this is a Tell It Under 10 video. Neuroinflammation that comes from the result of dysfunctional gut microbiome in specifics, all right? This causes a disruption in that gut-brain axis. Obviously, I'm going to struggle with saying those words. I do not know why, but it doesn't matter. All right. So microbiologists, specifically at Microbiome Labs, which is the lab that I am associated with, they have studied the gut-brain axis extensively as of recent, and have really started to hone in on the strains or the probiotics that affect IBS, anxiety, and depression, and the dysfunction that create this neurological inflammation. Okay. What I want to do is kind of give you an example of why this is so important, because as we've learned more about Alzheimer's disease, and we are learning more and more and more, I say this is kind of the new cancer. When cancer came out, there was a whole lot of research on how to, maybe cure cancer, even though curing of cancer will probably never be disclosed because it will always be a process and not a prescription. There is no way to make cancer cure a prescription. And so that's the reason why it cannot be, monetized by the pharmaceutical companies, because pharmaceutical companies do not monetize from processes. So again, I digress, which is another reason why this will be hard to get this in 10 minutes. But Alzheimer's is, as it's studied more and more and more, all they do know is that it is inflammation in the brain. The gut and the brain are connected by the vagus nerve, and once the gut gets accumulates more toxins, neurotoxins, endotoxins, that can travel from the gut to the brain and cross the blood-brain barrier. Therefore, once it gets into the brain, it causes inflammation, and that inflammation is directly linked to Alzheimer's, okay? So the problem is that there's nothing that pharmaceutical companies can come up with, or even supplement companies can come with, once it reaches the brain, to cross that blood-brain barrier to help it, all right, to calm down the inflammation in the brain. It's very difficult to cross the blood-brain barrier from an outside source without it leaking into the blood system. And so pharmaceutical prescription drugs or even supplements cannot do that. So the warning here is that we attack it from the gut level before it ever gets into the blood system, into the vagus nerve, into the brain. We want to attack it. That's again why, you guys, so much of what I do is focusing on gut health. So now we're talking about gut health and mental health and their direct connection, which then leads me to a new term that you may have not have heard before, and that is called psychobiotics. So instead of probiotics, which you've probably heard of before, and I talk about a lot in my programming and in my practice, now we're learning more and more about psychobiotics. And Microbiome Labs is pioneering in this field, because if you haven't watched the news as of recent, mental health is becoming a huge issue. And as I will talk about more in another video, Tell Under 10, about how it's directly related to our teens and our preteens. And these are the people that are upcoming leaders and people in our society. And it's really important for us to learn how we can raise mentally healthy young kids and how their gut is affecting that. And that's where psychobiotics come in. So basically what has happened is Microbiome Labs has researched extensively 2 strands of probiotics that directly relate to mood. That could be anxiety or depression, because they can actually go hand in hand, or IBS. And one strand definitely is more linked to IBS, and that's where it's been researched and studied to have the most effect. And the other one with mood. So again, for an example, when your body is in your gut, all hormones are made or maintained in the gut, pass through. They're affected by how your gut is stable. Tryptophan is one of those hormones. Tryptophan can be dysregulated into quinolinic acid. And when it is done that way, it becomes a neurotoxic. It becomes inflammation, and therefore can be, can turn into, a neurotoxic activity, which then can travel into the brain. So because neuroinflammation, therefore you have anxiety and depression and IBS symptoms just exacerbate. All right. So when it's dysregulated, it causes problems. Tryptophan is not the problem. It's the dysregulation of it, because when it's working correctly, tryptophan turns into melatonin. It can also turn into serotonin. These are all our feel-good hormones. But when it's not working correctly, it can become toxic and can cause our moods and our behavior to be toxic as well. All right. So these psychobiotics are right at the forefront. Now, typically I do not just direct a complete, here's a situation, here's a supplement to fix it. I don't believe in that, because there's also a process and there are many things that you can do. But if you're following me here and you know that there are other processes to do, like I'm in the middle of my gut reset program that teaches about the food, the mindset, the movements, all the things that have to do with building good gut health. But in particular, when it comes to dealing with the Mental Health Society, I have 30 seconds, then you definitely want to get the biggest bang for your buck right out of the gates, help them to feel better first, and then they're able to do things like food and movement and mindset work. This particular psychobiotic is the first of its kind. It is pioneering. It is out on the front of the field. It has been studied and researched, and it is called ZenBiome. I am going to put a link below for you to purchase this on my FullScript account if you are dealing with a preteen, a teen, or an adult that may be interested in learning about how your gut microbiome specifically will help you in those two strands in this particular area. All right. If you have more questions, this is not the only time I'm going to be talking about this. Okay. Mental health is huge in our society. And like I said, it's directly related to some of the issues that we're seeing in cancer, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's disease, any of those big neurological conditions that are housed in the brain. All right. So again, I'll put the link down below for the Zen Biome, but basically I just want you to know if you are on my email list, then you are going to see more information about this. And it is really important to handle it in the gut before it gets to the brain.